law, justice, and logic. Michael Brown versus Officer Wilson. After the grand jury failed to indict Officer Wilson, the President of the United States took the floor to calm the fury of the protesters. He pronounced that the United States is the country of law. In this case, one has to accept the verdict. What he said could be acceptable. As often said, the law is hard, but it is the law. Dura lex, sed lex. For example, the law could be declared that man is the master of the woman, and the woman must obey. It is really absurd. I do not want to misinterpret what the president said, but you must know that a country of law is not often a country of justice. A lawful decision is not all the time a justifiable decision. The verdict of the grand juries could comply with the law, but it may fail to conform to justice. I say this is not to increase. I say that it is not to increase the fury of the protestators, but to justify the difference that may exist between law and justice. It is reasonable to say that one should obey a law even if it's not justified. Justice is supposed to be legitimate to all human beings. Use force to get a person to obey a law which is not justifiable. It is tyranny. Democracy would not be the tyranny of the weak. It is injustice to oppose the people who protest against a law that is not right. A people who is facing an unjust law in a democratic country, that's to say, where there is no tyranny, the people have the right to peacefully protest against this law without any consideration of the decision that the grand jury has made. We cannot force people to do as Socrates, to obey the law, and even if it is not right. A country that has democratic institutions should establish just laws. Many times people was facing laws that are not justifiable, laws that are unjust. And the Department of Justice, which is an institution that enforces laws, shows its weakness to correct, to stand against those laws that do not correlate with justice. I do not want society to confuse justice and the law. Equal justice oversees the operation, the proper application of the law. For example, in a society like the United States, a white officer, Mr. Wilson, shot and killed a black man, Mr. Michael Brown, and there was not enough evidence to indict the officer. Thus, the Justice Department, including the prosecutor, selected a grand jury, which composed of 12 members, 9 white and 3 blacks. It's clear to justify in the selection there was a bias, because the jurors must be agreed in order to indict, to charge Mr. Watson. Let me repeat the same thing again because I want to be clear. Because I know for sure anyone can discover that. Anyone can see that's biased. In the jury, like I said, composed with 12 members. Among the 12 members, there is 9 white and 3 blacks. The Department of Justice or the prosecutor has already made the law that 9 of the 12 jurors must be agreed in order to indict, to charge the white officer. But it was clear to discover that they had a procedure trap, a legal trap, a straits in the selection of grand juries. And what is more shocking in this selection, the prosecutor had his father, who had been an officer, was murdered by a black man. He was not going to forget that. Pure and simple, a man is a man. The way that they prepared the trap, sincerely I said that, I saw no probability, probability that the officer Wilson was going to be charged. Anyone can see it. They don't hide anything. It was clear. One can be stated with a loud voice that the Justice Department did nothing to avoid this trap or judicial procedure in the case of Mr. Michael Brown and Officer Wilson. It is not necessary to have a PhD in criminal law to see that there was an injustice in this case. The law that Justice Department has used to form grand jury was not right. The confidential nature of hiding, keep secret, how the 12 jurors voted to reach at this decision violate the law of judicial transparency. Since the prosecutor refused to report the percentage of white and black jurors who voted for and against this decision not to indict Officer Wilson, the letter, speaking of the decision of the jury, is not credible. It doesn't conform to justice. It is not a matter of race or color that persuade me to say this, but the truth of logic, the truth of mathematics, which is necessary truth. If the prosecutor does not want to deliberate the percentages of white and black who voted for not indicting the officer, it is because there is a contradiction in which does not conform with the law of logic. Logic told us if A is a contradiction, so no reasoning counting among its A premises is incorrect. Because as there is no model that satisfies A, there is no model that verifies the premises and not verify the conclusion. Only God is an impartial judge. Thank you.